He wasn't famous. He wasn't rich. He didn't even have a driver's license. But at just 16 years old, with nothing but a notebook, a dream, and relentless determination, he built something the world desperately needed. While others scrolled through social media, he was sketching solutions. While classmates complained about problems, he was solving them. He didn't wait for permission. He didn't ask if it was possible. He just believed, and that belief changed millions of lives. Who's listening right now? Drop your city in the comments. Let us know where the future changemakers are tuning in from. Every story that changes the world begins with a spark, a quiet moment, a problem most people overlook, but one person refuses to ignore. That's exactly how it began for Aiden Riley. Aiden wasn't the valedictorian. He wasn't on a fast track to Silicon Valley. He was just your average American teen, hanging out with friends, binge-watching Netflix, and wondering what his purpose was supposed to be. But that all changed the day he saw something that shattered his world. It was the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. Schools were shutting down, cities were locking up, and like most kids, Aiden was sent home. No sports, no prom, no graduation in sight. But while the world froze, something else was unfolding, something far more devastating. On a drive with his father through downtown Los Angeles, Aiden looked out the window and saw tents lined up under bridges, homeless people huddled for warmth, and grocery store lines that wrapped around the block. Shelves were empty, families were hungry, fear was everywhere. But in the middle of that chaos, Aiden noticed something different. Not just the problem, but a gap: food waste. Even as people struggled to eat, stores were still throwing away food. Perfectly good produce and packaged goods were ending up in dumpsters, while children went to bed hungry just blocks away. That didn't sit right with Aiden. Not at all. Most teenagers would have shaken their heads and gone back to their TikTok feed. But Aiden, he went home, opened his laptop, and started researching. How much food do grocery stores actually waste? Why does it happen? How hard is it to get that food into the hands of people who need it? The answer stunned him. According to the USDA, over 30% of all food produced in America ends up wasted. That's roughly 133 billion pounds of food every year. Enough to feed every hungry person in the country, multiple times over. Aiden couldn't sleep. His mind raced. What if there was a way to bridge the gap? So he picked up the phone and made a call to a local food distributor. He told them, "I'm just a high school student, but I want to help." They laughed politely, but he didn't stop. He called another, and another, and then another. Eventually, someone said yes. One warehouse agreed to let him pick up a pallet of excess food. Now he needed a place to take it, so he called a local shelter. They were beyond grateful. With that one delivery, Aiden realized something. This could scale. He created a name, the FarmLink Project, and brought on some friends. These weren't experts. They were students, zooming in from their bedrooms, building spreadsheets, organizing routes, and negotiating donations, all while juggling school. In just a few months, FarmLink was moving hundreds of thousands of pounds of food across state lines. Aiden was coordinating logistics like a pro. His team worked from laptops, fueled by ramen noodles and a belief that they could do something that mattered. They weren't looking for fame. They weren't trying to get rich. They just couldn't unsee the injustice, and neither could the world. News outlets picked up the story. Donations poured in. Volunteers signed up. College students, high schoolers, even working professionals wanted in. The FarmLink Project wasn't just a student idea anymore. It was a full-blown national movement. But with growth came pressure. The bigger they got, the harder it became to manage. Schedules broke down. Trucks got delayed. Partnerships collapsed. There were nights Aiden wanted to give up. He was still just a teenager trying to save the world, while taking AP calculus and writing college essays. But every time he thought about quitting, he remembered the faces, the families who smiled when they received boxes of food, the shelter workers who cried in gratitude, the mothers who could feed their kids because of one teenage boy's idea. He learned how to lead, how to build systems, how to listen, how to pivot. He wasn't afraid to ask for help. That's what made FarmLink different. It wasn't built on ego, it was built on empathy. By the time Aiden turned 18, FarmLink had delivered over 100 million pounds of food to communities across America. That's more than 80 million meals, from Los Angeles to New York, from Houston to Detroit. One 16-year-old's idea became a nationwide solution to one of our most shameful problems. Today, FarmLink continues to grow, run by students for the people. Aiden didn't change the world with an app or $1 million invention. He changed it with compassion, with initiative, with action. And maybe that's the real lesson here. You don't have to be older. You don't have to be richer. You don't have to be more qualified. You just have to care, and care enough to do something about it. The next world-changing idea doesn't need to come from a Fortune 500 company. It could come from your garage, your bedroom, your heart. So what's the problem you can't unsee? What's the solution only you can bring? Because if a 16-year-old kid with no money, no connections, and no experience can deliver 100 million pounds of food to people who need it most, what's stopping you? If this story inspired you, drop a comment, share your city, and tell us, what will you do with your idea? Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Fearless Motivation, where world changers are made.